wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you very much for lending me your time and your ear and listening into another video from me. And this time I'm trying something a little bit different with being out on the road. Instead of having the the video on myself, it'll be on the road ahead of me. That way, I'm not necessarily worried about engaging you guys the same way, because I know I have to look back at the camera if it's faced at me. If it's not faced at me, I don't. So I can actually focus more on what I'm doing on the road and still talk the way I need to. That said, you saw the subject of the video already. You saw the title. I have a bit of an issue with the premise of everybody gets everything in the video game industry, because I've seen comments like this constantly where people say, well, I don't want to have games held hostage to a platform. And I understand where you're coming from. You don't want to have to buy more than one machine to be able to maximize how much software you get. And if that's your problem, you're better off gaming on PC. Like, trust me, you're better off gaming on PC if that's an issue to you. Sure, you won't get everything because Nintendo themselves are not going to put their games on PC, or they're at least not. That's not an option to them right now. But that gives you literally the most games to play on a singular platform, and that is PC. Like, speaking factually, that is the truth. Like, yeah, and there's some exclusives that are on the other consoles that might not show up on PC, but at this point it's almost a wash, because you can still find games that are like those exclusives on PC to play. Yeah, you might not be able to get involved with those characters or those particular individual stories of those characters, but hey, it's there. That's what it is. I mean, then there's emulation. Like, I know there are a lot of people who are against emulation, but again, PC gives you, even without emulation, PC gives you literally the most stuff to play. Low level all the way up to high level. PC gives you the most stuff to play. That said, I understand that there's a need for console exclusives. Like, hell, there's even stuff on PC that doesn't make it to console. There's plenty of shit on PC that's never going to make it to console. Because it's not an option for console. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, when I see people make these statements, I'm like, are you thinking about the whole picture, or are you just thinking about what you want? Because if you're just thinking about what you want and not thinking about how it works out for everyone else, then you're speaking from a place of ignorance. Like, you truly are. Now, what if I said, okay, like, what if I was an A&R rep for, say, Interscope Records, and Columbia Records has an artist that put out a song that I just love. Like, I love this song. And then I get the balls to tell Columbia, hey, you guys might as well sell your shit through us. Like, boy, you know how stupid that would sound? Columbia built up their platform for their artists, the same way Interscope built up their platform for their artists. Now, outside of collaborations, you're not going to see an Interscope artist publish shit through Columbia, and vice versa. It's not going to happen. Same thing with television shows and shit. And Netflix is a great example of this. Netflix gets exclusive shows. They make their own shows, and then they revive shows. Like Arrested Development, that was a syndicated television show. It went off air. Netflix got it and made new episodes. They made the Orange is the New Black. They brought back Full House and made it Fuller House. There's a lot that they're, like, you can't say, oh, all that shit should be on Hulu or on Amazon. They paid the money to have that shit made. So unless Hulu and Amazon are willing to help pay for this shit, they're not going to get it. That's exclusive to Netflix. And just like shows for HBO, like Game of Thrones. Showtime shouldn't get fucking Game of Thrones, even though that HBO put their money into making it. That shouldn't happen. And people don't think about it that way. This is where, oh, I just want all the games on one console. Well, fuck your attitude. Because you're not healthy for the fucking industry whatsoever. The only way the industry is going to grow is if there's competition. If you kill competition, you're going to get the same shit that you're complaining about now, where everything is fucking stagnating. And I don't get why people don't understand that. Oh, I don't want to have to buy a Nintendo console for Nintendo games. Well, fuck you. Just like I wouldn't say, like it shouldn't be anybody saying, no, I don't want to buy a Sony console for Sony exclusives. Fuck you. I don't want to buy a Microsoft console for Microsoft exclusives. Fuck you too. Like that's how I feel. The bad thing is, in Microsoft's situation, they're in a bit of a special situation because they are a major proponent of PC gaming. And they also have their own home console. So Microsoft exclusives have a couple platforms they can be put on. But that's the same thing with Nintendo. They have a couple places they can put their exclusives on. They have their home console, and then they have their handhelds. Sony, on the other hand, well, they're basically in the same situation as Nintendo. They have their home consoles and they have their handhelds. Now, I can understand people saying, I don't want games held hostage to a particular platform. And that I can understand that when it comes to third-party games that should be multi-platform. And like, not all of them should be multi-platform, because there are sometimes exclusive contracts for certain games to happen. Like Hyrule Warriors, for example. That was a contracted game. That should not be multi-platform. It technically can't because the Nintendo IP is used for it, but that should not be multi-platform. Another good example would be the Wonderful 101. That was another game, even though Platinum Studios developed it, that IP is owned by Nintendo. Now, in the eyes of the form, I don't know, getting tongue-tied. Now, thinking about something like Vanquish, which is a Sega IP, that can afford to be multi-platform. Because even though Platinum Studios made that game, Sega owns the rights to it, but Sega is a third-party company now. Let's put it this way. If Sega still had consoles out, they still had their own proprietary console out, Vanquish, if that was made by Platinum, it would be on Sega's console. It wouldn't be a multi-platform game. It would be exclusive to Sega's console. Another example. Now this is an example I know people jump up and get frothy at the mouth about, like they got rabies and shit, and that's Bayonetta 2. Where people say Bayonetta 2 should never have been exclusive to the Wii U. Well, here's the problem. No one wanted to fund Bayonetta 2, and Nintendo was the only company that did. So in my eyes, because they saved the IP from dying out, yes, they deserve exclusivity to that particular game. Now, if Bayonetta 3 comes out and they don't front the money for it, then they don't need to be, the ones to get it exclusive. If that game would have ended up exclusive to Microsoft or Sony, not as many people would have been pissed off. I know that for sure. Because they'd be like, well, it's on this console, I'll go get it to play it. I don't know what this prejudice is against Nintendo. Like, if they got a fucking game you want to play, get the shit to play the fucking game. I swear I don't get it. Like, people will buy a PS4 and the fucking Xbox One, and then rebuy a PS4 and Xbox One, as exampled by the Xbox One S, for their shit. But they will not buy Nintendo for a game that they really want to play just because it's Nintendo. I don't understand that logic. Like, if that was the case, I should have never bought the Xbox One so I could play Sunset Overdrive. I should have never gotten that shit. It sounds stupid. When you break it down like that, it sounds dumb. And that's why I'm not understanding with people. I swear. Like, maybe it's just because I grew up at a time where exclusives were appreciated, and people wanted to actually grow the industry, so they wanted to have everything and they wanted to support everything. You really desperately want one company to fall out of the race. You're trying to cripple the industry. You realize that? Do you realize you're trying to cripple the industry? We've already had enough third-party companies fall to shit for trying to keep up with this AAA game race. And you guys want another company to fucking fall out the race because you have some stupid-ass arbitrary reasons for disliking them. Sure, now, I'm not even going to say Nintendo's a perfect company. They fuck up. They do a lot of things I dislike. Shit, so do Sony and Microsoft. But I want the companies themselves to be around to be able to bring me shit that I can play that I can only find with their company. I don't want exclusives I don't want to see Halo end up on the fucking Nintendo console without reason. Now, unless there's going to be like some sort of special crossover between Halo and Metroid, I don't want Halo on Nintendo, and I don't want it on fucking PlayStation. The same way I wouldn't want The Last of Us to be on the fucking Wii U. Like, it's a Sony exclusive IP. Why the fuck would I want it on the Wii U? Why the fuck would I want it on PC? That's what people aren't understanding. Like, if you want the industry to thrive and grow and not just make money, like, the industry makes money no matter what. That's why we see EA making tons of fucking cash off of fucking DLC. But if you want the industry to grow, then you want each and every platform available to thrive. Which means you want all of the companies that are investing their money into the industry to thrive. But you want them to thrive in the right way. You don't want a company to be pulling shit EA does, where they buy out fucking developers and then they end up shutting down those fucking developers like 1 or 2 a year because they just either can't afford to keep those developers on, or they're not willing to give them a second chance because of a stupid fucking, maybe a game didn't meet its mark. Like, sometimes people just don't buy games because shit doesn't seem interesting. There are a lot of games that get ignored that are really good games. Then there are a lot of games that are panned that are really good games for, we know media gets paid to fucking promote certain ones, and then other ones, since they don't pay up, well, fuck it. Fuck them. That's how it turns out. And I got sidetracked. I'm trying to get back to my main point here. Look. If you don't like exclusives at all, like you don't like any exclusives to happen, don't game. Seriously. Don't game. At all. At all. Because whether people want to admit it or not, there are exclusive games that will never come from PC to console platforms. So don't play video games. Because that's the only way you're going to show that you don't want this to happen. Now, if you just want to have a lot of games and you don't want to buy multiple platforms, build yourself a fucking PC. Either buy a pre-built one or build yourself one, because that's where you're going to get the most games. I'm not going to bullshit about that. Like, but don't sit here and say, I don't want games held hostage. Like, look, the only way a game is being held hostage to a particular platform is if a game was multi-platform, but a company opted to pay another company to make it exclusive to them. Like how Rise of the Tomb Raider, that probably should never have been a timed exclusive. That's what timed exclusives are. That's holding shit hostage. When you have a timed exclusive. And I'm not talking about when a game comes out on one platform first and then makes it to another one later. I'm talking about a company paying for that shit to happen. I want to clarify that, because Shovel Knight, that shit wasn't a timed exclusive. It just came out on Nintendo's platforms and PC before it went everywhere else. So think about that shit. I mean, there's a lot more I could say. There's a lot more I'm thinking. I'm trying to pull all my thoughts together into coherent words. But more or less, I'm seeing it like this. As I just said, if you don't like exclusives to be anywhere, don't play video games whatsoever. Hell, even on PC is a divided ass fucking market. You've got different fucking platforms on PC that sell video games, and some of them have games that are exclusive to them. So either way, no matter where you're going to go, you're going to find somewhere that some company has the rights to something that they will not give to someone else to sell. And that's just how it works out. I still don't get people bitching about that. And the only excuse people can make for PC is that PC, you have the option to use those services or not. But that's the same thing as buying a console. You have the option to purchase that console or not. If you don't want to purchase it, then you don't want those exclusives. It's the same shit. Just because one's physical and one's digital doesn't change the fucking premise. I don't know. Like, and this is definitely coming off as a rant. This is definitely a rant. But I'm just saying, people, think about what you're saying. Actually think about it before you say it. Literally put some thought into this shit. Think beyond yourself. If you want this industry to grow, you have to think beyond yourself. If you don't want it to grow, then don't worry about it. If you don't care if it grows, don't worry about it. I'm not going to say you don't necessarily want it to grow, but some people just don't give a fuck. Like, well, fuck, if the game's there, I'm going to play this shit. That's how some people are. And sometimes that can be good, sometimes that can be bad. But that's all dependent upon people, the individual person. But please, do not say, oh, everybody should have everything and that should be that. If you want everybody to have everything, then put it this way. All those third parties who bullshitted and took shit away from Nintendo or fucked up games on PC, don't support their asses. Because you want everyone to have everything. If you're going to go in with that mindset, then actually stick to your guns and do the shit that you say, instead of saying it and then putting it out there and again being a fucking mouthpiece. I swear I've been saying that a lot. That's gonna be one of my new phrases, I think. Mouthpiece. But I'm putting the thought out there because I've actually thought about it. I've thought it through several times. Sure, in the perfect world, everyone could have everything available to them at any time when they wanted. But that's not how shit works. And when you're selling things, when you're selling items, competition makes you thrive because you have to outthink and outwit your competition in order to be able to continue on. And if you do bad in one space, doesn't necessarily mean you'll do bad in another. Again, take Nintendo and Sony, for example. Nintendo's not doing so great with the Wii U, but 3DS is thriving like a motherfucker. Sony's not doing so great with the Vita, but the PS4 is off the fucking, it's off the fucking chain for people. That shit's sold. Now, as far as software sales, I can't say too much. So I don't think PS4 has sold a whole lot of software. I actually think Vita might have sold roughly about the same amount of software as the PS4. Vita is a fourth of what the PS4 sales are. So again, you gotta look at things a little bit differently. And like, I don't know what else I need to say about this. Like, there's plenty more that could be espoused upon, and I feel like I'm missing something that's key to this. But I think I've got most of the point across. If you don't want, like I'm going to say again, if you don't want exclusives to happen, don't pay anything into this industry. Don't play video games, because exclusives are everywhere, literally. There's no way you can escape that there's at least one exclusive game on each available platform. Now, If you want everyone to have everything, then don't support the motherfucking companies that don't give everyone everything. That's all you gotta do. If especially speaking on third-party developers. And I'm not talking about exclusive contracts. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about when you have a game like Plants vs. Zombies that ends up on the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the PS4. I think there's even a Vita one, but it doesn't end up on the Wii U or even the 3DS. There's no version of that game made for either of those. Why is that? I mean, EA had this unprecedented partnership with Nintendo. Why is that something that happened? Or if a Titanfall 2 comes out, it ends up on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but guess what? It doesn't end up on whatever the fuck the NX turns out to be. Don't support that shit. Call of Duty. Don't support it. But what I'm saying, I know that would hurt a lot of people because those are their favorite fucking games to play. That shit would hurt people. Because they'd be like, oh, I've got to give up. I like this series. I don't want to have to give up playing this series. Resident Evil. Another good... Resident Evil 4... No. Resident Evil 5 and 6. When the Wii U came out, why didn't those games end up on the Wii U? Resident Evil Revelations 2. Even though the first one sold better on Nintendo's platforms alone. On the 3DS alone, the game sold awesome. And it sold decently well on the Wii U. Why did the follow-up not end up on the Wii U or the 3DS? Why didn't they start from there like they did before? And that was Capcom's doing. They changed up how they were making the game so that they could literally ignore those platforms. And I don't know why. When those did well on those platforms. But I'm done. So, like I've said enough. This video's long enough. I'm gonna shut up now. Hope you guys understand exactly where I'm coming from. If you don't, sorry. Like, that's all I can say to you. I'm sorry. Like, I can explain it until I'm blue in the face. If you don't get it from this much, you're not going to get it later. It's going to take you to learn about the shit on your own. And I can't force that. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more of my stuff. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.